Today on Commander Replay, let there be triggers as we check out this Yarok Allies deck. Can MTGO hold up to the sheer volume of triggers that we generate? Find out next on Commander Replay. I want to thank my awesome Patreon supporters. We have 2 new Patreon supporters in SureThing007Q and 2 wieners, Ryan B. You guys are awesome. If you want to help support the channel and vote on which decks I play next, feel free to check out my Patreon at the link below. And be sure to use the TCG affiliate player link, as it doesn't cost you anything and it helps support the channel. Welcome back, everyone. Got a ridiculous deck for you today. Today we're playing some Yarok Allies. Take a look at this opening hand. It's actually not that great. 4 lands, no ramp, no card draw, and like big expensive things. Not loving that, so we're gonna mulligan that, take the free one, see if it gets a little better. It does not. Oh, the MTG Shuffler. It has been awful. It has been awful. I got terribly mana screwed earlier in the day. Still really salty about it. Top 20 cards in my deck, 3 lands. So we're going to mulligan one more time. Wow, into another 1-lander. This makes mana, so if we can just find a second land, this is 2 mana. Draws a card, Farhaven Elf on 3. I think we can make this work. We'll put the Seascape Aerialist to the bottom. And there's a turn 1 mana crypt for the Braids. Ugh. This should be awful. Copy Artifact. Oh my. 2 mana crypts for the Braids. Well on their way to casting big expensive things. Meanwhile, I'm about to replay the game that I played earlier today where I drew no lands, so I'm not at all excited about this. 36 lands in the deck. Shouldn't be having mulligan issues the way we've been having them. There's a second land. That is good news. So, play the Bloodstained Mire. We've got a green in hand, we need blue and black, so we're going to crack the Bloodstained Mire, get something that makes blue and black. Get a Watery Grave tapped, and if nothing else, at least it looks like we'll get to play some Magic, which I barely did earlier. So, and as you can tell, I'm still feeling a bit under the weather, still sounding very stuffy, and I'm only a little bit dizzy right now. And by a little bit, I mean reasonably dizzy. Opponent's going to play a Spine Rock Knoll and Hideaway. 2 mana crypt flips for the Braids, hopefully they lose them all. Be funny if they get themselves for like 20 or 30 off mana crypts. There's one they lost. They won the other. So as I mentioned, we are playing Yarok Allies, a deck that has a very real possibility of breaking Magic Online. Once a million triggers start going off, things will be very, very interesting. In terms of this deck specifically, I cut a lot of the standard good stuff that you would associate with Yarok, just to jam in a bunch of allies and try to keep the focus on the allies as much as I could. There's still a few things in there. We still got a Muldrotha, a couple 6-drops, things like that. But for the most part, I got rid of like Acidic Slime and a handful of other stuff that you'd almost always play if you're playing a Yarok deck. So see if we can have a little bit of fun with Yarok Allies today. Mazavith coming down for the Braids. Yep. Also fires off a Mystical Tutor. Puts a Windfall on top. All right, so nothing in our hand is going to stay where it is. I'm sure this won't be terrible at all. Would love to get the Farhaven Elf in before all this happens, but I doubt that's going to be the case. So probably on the Erebos Druid. Comes a Signet for opponent. There's a land. Well, play the land, crack the land, get something with some blue and green, get Tropical Island, and play the Erebos Druid. And opponents will immediately know what we're up to. Worn Power Stone for the Aurelia. Taking a look at what our opponents are playing, by the way. Champion of Thune piloting Aurelia the War Leader, and this one is pretty similar to the Weapons of War build that I run, and it'll run you over really quickly. I've lost to it a number of times. Whenever I tell him to bring stronger decks, he brings that one, and if you don't answer it quickly, you die. So hopefully we don't get smashed in the face super hard. There's a Mazavith in play for opponent, which means it probably won't be going in that direction. It's not great. Would love to get this Baleful Strix in. Baleful Strix awesome at deterring Aurelias, but I'm pretty sure this Windfall is about to happen. Unless opponent has something they really want to get out of their hand first. Here's a Copy Enchantment. Okay. Makes themselves another Mana Crypt. And there's the Windfall. What makes me sad about this is that Muldrotha's in our hand, and Muldrotha is one of the ways that we get things back. Well, it's an interesting hand. We've got Mazavith. That'll be good against Aurelia. We've got Burgeoning and a bunch of lands. Sylvan Library to draw. A little bit weird right there, a little bit weird. Definitely going to have to use the Sylvan Library to draw into some stuff. See what opponents lost. Aurelia had Swiftfoot Boots, mostly a lot of lands. So they're probably not actually that sad to see their hand go. Opponent discarded a Swan Song, and over here, opponent lost an Emrakul. Glad to see that gone. Zealous Conscripts, Tithe, Rest in Peace, and Machiko. Yeah, that's some stuff. Looks like some sort of control, maybe a little bit of stacks, maybe a little bit of hate bears with the Queen Marchesa. Ooh, nice. Opponent's gonna wear tear 2 of the mana crypts. Sweet. So that should slow opponent down. I'm all about that. More importantly, that wear tear is now not hitting our things. So that's also good. Opponent's got a response, it looks like. Oh, just floating the mana. Continuing on our opponents, by the way, next up we have Banana piloting Braids Conjurer Adept, and having one of the more ridiculous starts I've ever seen. At one point they had 3 mana crypts, now down to a single mana crypt. And then finally we've got XCVR piloting Queen Marchesa, and it looks like they're going to be playing a little bit of control today. And all that brings back to our turn. There's a High Market, a card, yeah, we really just didn't need at all. So I guess we're going to play this Burgeoning, play this Sylvan Library, play this Mazavith, and pass turn. 2 Mazaviths in play is exactly what an Aurelia opponent wants to see. They're going to need to find a Volcanic Offering or something like that. Opponent plays a land, is going to trigger our Burgeoning. Sweet. Let's get the Marsh Flats. And I think at some point here we're going to crack that Marsh Flats, maybe get a little shuffle going, because seems to be a lot of lands on top of our deck. Burrow Signet. Now we do have Living Death and Rise of the Dark Realms in the deck, so we can potentially get these things back later, which is a nice thing. I've played many decks in the past where sometimes you just have no ability to get anything back, and it feels pretty awful. So, you know. Being in Sultai, we do have some decent reanimation options. I actually cut a few just to make room for more allies again. There's a Bruce Tarl into play for opponent. Targets itself on the way in, no haste though. Bruce Tarl with Aurelia is very strong, but fortunately for us, we do have the Mazavith. One of the things that I've used to close out a lot of games with Aurelia is Bruce Tarl, Umezawa's Jit, and Aurelia. And those 3 cards can clean up a game pretty quickly, because you start getting a ton of counters on the Jit, and you either shoot things as needed or kill people with Aurelia very, very quickly. You also gain a lot of life while all that's happening, so it's a nice little 3-card combo. Doesn't necessarily end the game, but it's still really strong. Opponent plays land, Burgeoning time. Let's get the High Market. And we'll crack the Marsh Flats right here. Opponent also going to crack their Marsh Flats, sure. Gonna get the Overgrown Tomb tapped right here. And oh boy, do we ever need this Sylvan Library to stick, because we need to draw some cards pretty badly. The Windfall got us pretty good. Opponent plays a land, Burgeoning will trigger, get the Reflecting Pool. Solemn Simulacrum for opponent, sounds good to me. More importantly, that's them not blowing up our stuff. Completely fine with that. By the way, this deck idea came to me the other day. I was chatting with Patreon and Discord, and I think it was Banana. I think it was Banana who saw the deck. But someone mentioned that they had just run into an opponent playing Yarok allies, and I'm like, oh my god, that seems like the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. So that's what we're playing today, and there's an ally right there. So I am hoping to get the ally train rolling right here. Sylvan Library triggers. Take a look with the library. We've got Ghostly Flicker, Damnation. I mean, I guess we're keeping them. It's a lot of life loss, but I guess that's what we're doing. Play this land. Let's get Yarok into play. And I guess we're passing like that. Ghostly Flicker, not what we needed exactly right now. Maybe in a couple turns if we can actually get some allies going. Could be pretty sweet, but for the time being, Opponent plays land, Burgeoning will trigger. We are out of lands. Here comes the Sun Titan. Yeah, that seems good. Opponent's got lands and boots, so they can go boots, equip the Sun Titan, and then get themselves a land. Seems pretty good. Yep, there's the boots. Equip the boots. And if Aurelia comes down next turn, that's going to be some pretty good mana ramp for opponent, because they've got only lands left in the graveyard that they can get back with Sun Titan. Bruce Tarl and Sun Titan into the Queen Marchesa opponent. Yeah, opponent's going to get a land back. That's a lot of life for them to gain. That is a lot of life for them to gain. Opponent gets a land. Yeah, that's 12 life. I think I'm going to let it... okay, actually, that's not that big of a deal. So opponent's going to block the Solemn Simulacrum with the Sun Titan. We can remove the Sun Titan. So now opponent... Oh, never mind, it's got hexproof. Never mind, Sun Titan is a hexproof. So Solemn Simulacrum down. There's a Venser. Let's see what this goes after. It's going to go after our Yarok. That's annoying. I was hoping to at least get double triggers on the Umara Raptor. Arcanus the Omnipotent for opponent. Well, Now that our commander's been bounced, we're probably on Damnation, because getting rid of Sun Titan's going to be a good idea. Our Yarok is not in play. We'd lose only the Harabaz Druid, which, you know, good card, but facing down a Sun Titan and an Arcanus, I think Damnation's going to be worth it. Custody Lich. Enters the battlefield, you become the Monarch. Whenever you become the Monarch, target player sacrifices a creature. Let's see where this goes. Put it at the Aurelia opponent. So they sacrifice the Bruce Tarl. Yep. Opponent will get to draw at the end step. Brings it back to our turn. There's an ally. Allies are sweet. And one that reanimates after a couple wheels. Should be very reasonable. Sylvan Library will trigger. Use the ability. We draw a land and a Tarju Warcaller. Pay the life. Down to 21. Play this land. Crack the land. Let's get the Underground Sea. Play Damnation. Oop, I meant to tap the Druid first here. Whoops. Don't think it's going to matter too much. So things getting blued up right there. We'll get the Occultist into play. Or will we? Yeah, we got to cast something, right? So get the Occultist into play. And now that Aurelia has the boots, it's actually protected from Maze of Ith, which is... That's the thing that could get us. Here comes Aurelia. Yep. Hopefully they don't go our way. Boots onto the Aurelia. Opponent's got the Monarch token, so that should save us at least one attack. Going into the blue player first. Okay. And second attack into the Queen Marchesa. Yeah. So we're definitely going to want to get the Raptor in so we have a flying blocker. And more ideal if we can get it large enough to profitably block Aurelia. So opponent takes the Monarch token. There's a Bruce Tarl in opponent's graveyard, which that's got lifelink on it. Could be a reasonable way to get some life back. Ooh, there's also a Venser in opponent's graveyard, which means we could bounce the boots theoretically at some point. And then Maze of Ith the Aurelia as needed. And Solemn Simulacrum in opponent's graveyard, just a nice bit of value. Also, Machiko in the graveyard. So I'd really like to try and keep this Occultist alive, and then try to get some allies into play, because we can do some cool stuff. Oh, that's a Debtor's Knell for opponent. That's so good. Oh, especially in this board state. Wow. Enlightened Tutor, I believe that's the Aurelia casting the Enlightened Tutor. Reveals a Hammer of Nazan. That's a card. A little bit nervous that the blue player passed without doing anything. Could be a Cyclonic Rift. There's a Kodama's Reach. Reasonable card, actually, right here. Use the Sylvan Library. We've got a Tajuru Archer and a Balaged Thief. I'm going to put the Thief back on top and keep the Archer. So let's play the Kodama's Reach. Let's get an island and a forest. Island into play, forest into hand, play the forest. Leaves us with 5 mana. I guess we better get the Raptor. So it'll come in, it'll give itself a +1/+1 counter. It's now a 2/2. We could reanimate a creature with 2 CMC or less. I don't know if there are any of those at the moment. No creatures with 2 CMC or less. Here comes that Hammer of Nazan. Yep. Let's see if they have another equipment to follow it up. We could have exactly enough for Sunforger. It's a Feast and Famine. That's a really good one. Of course, opponent's going to send it our way. Cool. Opponent's going to play a Dream Eater. Flash flying, enters the battlefield, surveil 4. When you do, you may return target non-land permanent an opponent controls to its owner's hand. Okay. Boots. So opponent will get the surveil 4. See if they hit a small creature that we could reanimate. That'd be nice. Opponent's going to blink the boots. That's going to save us a lot of trouble. Or bounce the boots, rather. Oh, and then opponent's going to reality shift on it. Wow, nice. It'll just be back next turn. That's how Aurelia works, but disaster avoided this turn. So Aurelia gets exiled. Disaster avoided. Whew. Probably got to take opponent out for lunch right there. Said if anyone else wants to hurt Banana real bad, I won't stop you. All right. Aurelia still got the Monarch token, so they get to draw a card. There's an Extraplanar Lens for opponent. We've got 2 islands. That's actually pretty helpful. Might be able to get Yarok plus something else now. Here comes Braids into play. Oh my. Yep, things should get silly now. Find out what the biggest card in everyone's hand is. Maybe we won't, because Time Reversal. Each player shuffles his or her hand and graveyard into their library, then draws 7 cards. Except it's about to get countered. Opponent gonna fire off a Pyroblast. Yeah, playing some control. So that's gonna wreck Braids, because they were counting on getting 7 new cards, and now they're empty. They are empty-handed. They could attack Aurelia right here with the flyer and take the Monarch token if they wanted, but they would be open in the air after that. Queen Marchesa opponent, happy with their hand the way it is. Ours actually isn't that bad either. It's not like the greatest thing I've ever seen, but it's fine and it's manageable. We just need time to cast stuff, so it would probably get worse if that wheel resolved. We'd probably run into a bunch of lands, and where right now we've got some reasonably impactful cards. We've got allies, which is the most important thing. Oh, hey, there's a Debtor's Knell. Debtor's Knell and Braids trigger. Let's see what opponent goes for. There's a Sun Titan that's available. There's also a Muldrotha in our graveyard. Yeah, opponent's going to go for our Muldrotha. That seems like a pretty good one. There's a Kazul, so maybe some pillow fort action with the Queen Marchesa. And there's our Muldrotha. Forget if I run Homeward Path in this deck. Oh, we can blink it with Ghostly Flicker. I might do that. Yeah, now we're talking. We can get a land out of the graveyard, get a Farhaven Elf. Oh, I think this is going to be a good turn. I think this is going to be a very good turn. Maybe we'll get the Baleful Strix because we need blockers. Though Sword of Feast and Famine, maybe. We'll see. We'll see. Harabaj Druid makes mana. Oh, there's the Emrakul. Oh, God. Emrakul on us. Cool. By cool, I mean not cool. Does this make mana? It does not. Oh, does it have to be you control? Exile 2 artifacts and or creature lands you control. Ah, we can't hit the Muldrotha with it. Well, hopefully opponent doesn't exile our commander. Opponent can drain our life pretty hard with Sylvan Library, though. That is a thing that can happen. Braids trigger on us. Opponent is controlling our turn via the Emrakul. There's a Lotus Cobra. Sylvan Library trigger. The Great Henge and Panharmonicon. Good news is no removal in there. Opponent puts our Yarok into play. They do put us down to 8, so we have to be very, very careful. Oh, we have a High Market in play. High Market's bad. See how destructive opponent wants to be. There's the Panharmonicon. There's the Warcaller. Our allies trigger a bunch. Opponent playing our deck for us. So we get 3 Raptor triggers and 3 Warcaller triggers. They can slam us into someone else pretty hard if they want to. We have an 11/11 Raptor. That's, wow. That, these two together with Yarok and Panharmonicon? Not too bad. Let's see where they attack. Gonna send the Raptor into the Braids opponent. Occultist into the Aurelia. I'm fine with that. I am fine with that. Nope, changing their mind. Just the bird into the Braids opponent. They will block. They still got a Maze of Ith. Maybe they're trying to hold it up for Aurelia or something. But Aurelia's still got boots. I guess there's also an Emrakul on the board, although they would untap before Emrakul. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, opponent just blocks, lets it go down. Opponent's activating the High Market. What do they sacrifice? Sacrifices our commander. Yeah, it's annoying. Opponent activates the Occultist. Don't think there's any targets. Machiko? Is it power? Oh, it doesn't work. Yeah, okay. Brings it back to our turn. There's a Braids trigger. We can get the Great Henge in for free. Seems pretty good. Get the Great Henge. Sylvan Library will trigger. There's a land. Need to be careful here. Life is getting low. Oh, that's the Colostria Healer. Oh my. We've got a Panharmonicon also. We could go to 1. That's a thing that we could do. This should get us some life, though. Opponents are pretty tapped out. I don't think we're going to get burned. Yeah. Let's keep them all. Let's keep them all. Actually, let's put the Wood Elves back on top. Yeah, we can put Wood Elves back on top because we'll draw when we cast a creature. Actually, yeah, we can do the same thing. So we can cast the creatures. We can cast the creatures first, so we'll put the land back on top as well. Okay. How much is Yarok? Yarok's going to be 7. Those make double. That's cool. So do a little mana count here. Great Henge gives us 2 mana. That's 11, 12, 13. We'll have 13 total mana. 14 if we Lotus Cobra, then play a land. So that'd be 7, 9, 11, 14. We can get all 3 cards. Doesn't seem awful. And then we can, like, Bruce Tarl something and use the Occultist to get something back. So start with Yarok. Cast Yarok. Great Henge will trigger. Oh my, the Great Henge triggers 3 times. Oh, that's ridiculous. That is ridiculous. Oh my. Let's get the Lotus Cobra in. Oh, that's a Conjurer's Closet. This hand is getting more and more ridiculous by the moment. Wow, we might be able to win right here. The Lotus Cobra is in. Play this Wooded Foothills. Get 2 Lotus Cobra triggers. Let's see. Let's get a black and a green. Get this Healer in. Oh my. Oh, that's a lot of... Oh, wow. Yep, the triggers are starting. The triggers are starting. Oh, MTGO's having trouble. MTGO is having trouble. We're not even that far in yet. Luckily, we got some healer triggers in there. That'll give us some life back. I like that. Great Henge is going to trigger and give us multiple card draws. Warcaller is going to make everything huge. The Raptor will get large. Next, let's see. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mana open. We can get a little bit of extra with the Wooded Foothills. Actually, we can get even more with the Wood Elves. So Wood Elves gives us 2 lands untapped, and that gives us... Oh, yeah, we got to get Wood Elves. Wood Elves going to give us so much mana. Great Henge will trigger. Still got Burgeoning in play. If for some reason the game doesn't end right here, then we'll have a lot of lands to cough in. 3 Wood Elves triggers. Oh, that seems so good. Get a forest. Add a black. Add a blue. Get a forest. Get a blue. Get a black. Get a forest, get a blue, get a black. There's a Solemn Simulacrum. Oh my. Oh, there's a Metamorph. I think we can win now. Pretty sure we can win. Here comes the Hagra, what's it called? Diabolist. And a bunch more triggers going on the stack. I guess we'll start shooting the Aurelia opponent. Great Henge continuing to trigger. We draw some more cheaply costed allies. Seems very good. The stack. And here I thought we were going to get demolished by the Emrakul. I think everyone about to pay the price for the fact that we did not. Opponent goes down to 15. We're up to 17. Now I think we play a Metamorph on the Diabolist. We'll pay the Phyrexian mana. Choosing... This is the one, right? Yep, that's the one. Copy that. More Warcaller triggers. More Healer triggers. How many allies do we actually have? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 allies. So 3 triggers right here should do it. Actually, 2. Be 12 plus 3. Okay. And then we'll get started over here. Actually, we should get rid of the Queen Marchesa opponent. There's a Toxic Deluge. Continuing to draw cards. Use the ability. Auto all the triggers. I'm not convinced my computer is going to hold up for all this. Aurelia opponent goes down. Opponents are at 13 and 4. Let's play this guy. And this should do it. Raptor triggers. Oh my, this deck is ridiculous. So we get 3 healer triggers. And this should do it. So down goes the Queen Marchesa. Down they go. Yeah. Yarok allies. What a silly deck. What a silly, silly deck. I mean, it basically goes infinite. It's like almost infinite with the Great Henge. Zendikar Resurgent will probably get you pretty close too. Yeah. The Great Henge should probably be a cast and not an ETB, by the way. I think it's definitely a little bit too strong as an ETB. Yeah, this deck is silly. This deck is really, really silly. Most of these allies, I imagine, have to be pretty cheap. I'm not aware of them being used in any of the other formats right now, so you could probably build this deck pretty cheaply if you wanted to. Yeah, so we got a good look at what happens when you triple the triggers with a bunch of allies. Things get ridiculous. Don't know what else to say about it. Surprisingly, MTGO was able to hold up to all the triggers right there, although I think a crash was coming probably pretty soon. We did get lucky that we didn't have removal in hand, and opponent couldn't tear us apart with the Emrakul that much. So we caught some breaks there, but yeah, things, once we untapped, had a little bit of mana and didn't get disrupted too much, things shaped up for us really quickly. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, feel free to comment, like, or subscribe. Thank you for watching.